We start the pull here with a 60-second pull timer so that the Prot Pally and the Unholy DK can start with a indestructible potion. As we go in with a we start with a FAP, so as soon as the 6-second pull timer is off, we should be able to FAP and go. So we walk into the instance at 45 seconds. That gives us time to line up a couple things. First, we had some layering problems, so a couple of our people were actually not on the same layer as us, so we had to buff them inside. So you see we're buffing here as we're running in. Our Feral Druid and our Rogue are going to run forward. They're going to start the pull a little bit forward from us, but everyone else is going to start here, right in front of these patchwork golems. We're buffing up. If you saw, we popped the 30-minute undead AP and spell power buffs because, you know, free damage. And if you see, we're starting with TBC rocket boots on. So we all pre-potted a FAP and instantly popped TBC boots into swapping to the current Tinker engineering boots. So we're pulled this whole area. The Rogue popped out of stealth, or popped out of the corner here first to aggro these slimes, and then the Feral Druid went forward, and as you can see, pulled these 2 more golems from the next room in. That's because these golems are the only ones that stun, and we definitely don't want to be stunned during the next pull. So we kill all the golems, mostly while our FAP is obvious that we got stunned there. But we pulled all the golems in this area, killed them all, and then we pull directly into patchwork. So you can see pull here into a rock of boots. I stun this group, drop a consecration, and we pull them into this corner here, which is line of sight behind this pillar. It's a really hectic pull. Our druid is tranking in the back right now. We bopped both of the warlocks. The Holy Pally had bubbled at this point, as you can see. So most of the threat would have been on him. Now see his bubble ran off, and a few of them hit him, but most everything is dead now. So at this point, we're basically back into a normal patchwork. We haven't popped Lust yet. We're just trying to stabilize, and then we're going to move slowly this way towards the slime, just to give us a faster exit out of this room. The Feral Druid is main tanking right now, so all I need to do as the off tank is make sure that I'm in hateful range while he's pulling patchwork closer and closer to this green slime. We pop Lust at 50% and just nuke him down. For this pull, I'm wearing a bit more tankier gear, and you'll see me swapping back to my normal gear in a minute after the boss is dead. But we'll tankier gear because I'm trying to pick up most of the ads, and most of them end up on me. So then it's just a lot of damage that goes out. So this pull is pretty rough, and the Druid Trank is really the key that helps us pull through this every time. So we drums here. We have to make sure we dodge this particular Frogger spawn because it's right next to where we kill Patchwork, so everyone goes around it. We are running through this hallway. I re-equipped the correct gear, and we're going to go directly into Globulus. So the plan here is for everyone to just run directly into Globulus, and while I pull these other, so just start getting threat on these mobs. I throw an Avenger Shield at these two. I did it a little too early and it didn't connect, so I only got threat on one of them. And then you can see the second one runs over to the healer instantly, but I get the taunt and we're in business. So the plan here is a single target Globulus and just passive AoE all these mobs until a certain point where they're all enraged and they start doing a considerable amount of damage. So I called for AoE and all the mobs die and we're just left with Globulus. The plan here is once Lust falls off, so in a few seconds we're going to really go up this ramp quickly. And the healer gets the disease there. It's kind of unfortunate. I'm waiting for him to give me the call that he's up here in a good line of sight position so that we can just start hauling ass. And there was the call, so we're all moving forward. We get 2 slimes there, a little unfortunate. But I pick it up easily and we just keep moving. We want him to die. We want everyone to be up here near the exit as Globulus dies. So in this, we don't pop drums here. We save it for after Gluth, but about a third of the way through this pipe, about right here, is where you can tinker boots and make it to the end without the buff falling off. So you can launch out the end. So you can launch out the pipe with the boots buff still. Get some extra uptime on Gluth. So this point of view is pretty bad for Gluth, but in the back here is our Holy Pally. He's tanking the few zombie chow that spawn. They don't do that much to him. We kill Gluth super fast here. So mainly what I'm doing is looking at this map. I can have track undead on right now, so I can see right there is a Stitch Colossus. I can see him moving right through the middle right now. He's moving to the right. So what I'm doing is telling my hunter that he's going to need to go in to the right to grab this Stitch Colossus. And the second pad is coming up from the left to the right now. So we're going to be able to walk directly into the second one as soon as Gluth is dead right now. So Gluth dies. We walk directly into this Colossus. The Geists are coming up to our left right now. They got distracted. That was fine. Would have preferred not to distract, but we killed them all quickly, pulled the second Colossus while our hunter pulls that third Colossus that was off to the right. So these Colossus do a surprising amount of damage, so we chained Divine Sacs here and just be extra careful. And as this last one is dying, we'll pop drums and get everyone moving towards Thaddeus. So we've had trouble with the DPS split here in Phase 1 Thaddeus before. So we're trying something a little different this run. We had all the range on the left, including the hunter. Usually he's on the right side with the rest of the physical. But his plan was to be able to disengage, pop readiness, and disengage again into the next platform if there was a big damage discrepancy. And luckily here our damage was actually pretty close, which was surprising. So he didn't have to do the jump until the very end. About 15% or so, I think we called it, for him to make the jump, because there was like a 8% DPS or damage difference or so. And he's actually taking some sort of cleave, or he does like a little bit of cleave damage, this boss, Stalag. So he was forced to go a little earlier. And unfortunately, he missed the jump, but it was fine. Melee were able to kill their boss before anything bad happened. An unfortunate miss here for me led to almost Gnuch dying, just taking a stray melee. But we move Thaddeus over to the exit, and our hunter gets back, luckily, before the first polarity goes out. So that was great. So we tank him right here next to the teleporter, so we can just instantly exit. So there's really no reason not to tank him over here when you're trying for speed. And here's a polarity shift where nobody had to move. It's extremely lucky. Give us a little bit of a DPS boost. I think we did the math, and it's about a 1 in 256 for that to happen in 10 men, so that's pretty rare. We'd never seen it before, but we'll take it. As Thaddeus is dying here, we're planning to go through the teleporter and go back to the right, which is towards the Plague Wing. So we pop drums before you go through the teleporter so everyone gets it. I hold off on boots here because I needed to make sure combat dropped, because I've had a problem before where you run into this too quickly and combat didn't drop. So what we did here is a boots swap. So we started with Tinker out of Thaddeus and instantly popped our macro that used boots and then swapped to TBC. So as you can see, we're all wearing TBC rocket boots right now for this pull. Our hunter pulled these two stone skin gargoyles to us. I think we were pretty unlucky with the pat timing here, where the third gargoyle wasn't with them, and our combat actually gets chained down to Noth, unfortunately. So I throw a smoke flare here, try and line up the correct spot where we're supposed to be rocket booting down, but we got a little distracted here with this late gargoyle coming in, so we went down the next area with 8 stacks already and stuck in combat, so we still have Tinker boots on, or we still have TBC boots on, which is unfortunate. So I'm just waiting for the call that everyone is in. So everyone is in, we pulled Noth, and we're just gonna work through these. As you can see, our healer is a badass and is healing us. Our single Holy Pally is healing everyone through anywhere from 12 to 18 stacks I'm seeing right now. So a lot of damage was going out here. This pull was kind of rough. I'm glad we made it through without losing anyone. So what you want to do here is we're pulling Noth to the exit because no reason not to. Alright, all the debuffs are off everybody, so it's pretty chill now. We're pulling Noth to the exit so we can have a fast exit. I pop a potion here, which I shouldn't have. I should have saved for a FAP for this hallway, but in the end it's not a big deal. We're finishing up Noth and just getting ready to go through this gauntlet as fast as we can. Oh, and I'm calling for people to wait wait for them to drop combat and for boots to swap before we walk into this hallway, and for potion CD to start ticking, because we want to make sure that we have FAP after Heigen specifically. So I wait here, boots swap, potion CD starts, and I pull. We should have popped drums here. I missed it because I was looking for the potion CD, so should have popped drums here, missed it. But we just basically try and hold W through this hallway as best we can. Our rogue is tricksing me as much threat as he can, and our feral druid is just running through and bear and spamming swipe. So our Tinker boots are off cooldown here, so we're told everybody to just use boots whenever you're on slowed here, because these maggots give you a slow, so you got to make sure you're not slowed when you pop boots here. So everybody's in the room, don't have threat and everything, but it's fine. We're pulling. Tank Heigen off the platform, but in melee range of the corner of the platform, so the melee does not get hit by any of these eruptions, and the ranged can stand over there, so it's out of range of the slow, or the casting speed slow, and he's off the platform, so he does not cast mana burn, which is usually not a problem when you're in a non-speed run, but mana burn can be pretty annoying when you're trying to go fast and you don't have any time to drink or anything. Excuse me. And I'm focusing here on keeping myself dispelled, because that's really the only dangerous thing in this fight, is I'm standing out in an eruption with if I get the disease, it can be pretty bad. So we're planning to pop a FAP, pop drums and FAP through this hallway, through this next hallway. And basically, we don't really need to kill anything. So there's drums, there's FAP. We're just going. We can worry about killing the maggots once we're inside Lotheb. So basically, I'm just trying to get a little bit of threat on these eye stalks so they might cast on me. Doesn't really do anything, so we're just keep running. As you can see, people are doing instant cast spells only, and we just keep moving. I think our Death Knight was the furthest one behind. He probably didn't have a FAP and got 1 or 2 slows from the eye stalks. So as soon as the last person is in Lotheb, we're pulling. All right, so we pulled Lotheb. My mana is pretty low here, but that's just my own fault for not keeping it up. So it gets a little sketchy here, but I get a mana pot in 8 seconds. So the spore assignments that we had here were all the ranged plus our Feral Druid, because he's got like a charge and a Feral Druid, Feral Charge. So they were able to get that. And then I'd line Lotheb up so we can passive AoE off of Lotheb and kill all these maggots as they're coming in. And I'm going to drag Lotheb to wherever the second spore spawns so that I can get it as well, just for a little bit extra damage. So I drag it here, we kill it, pop Lust. Everyone's got Lust, everyone's got the spore buff, and we just pump Lotheb. The third spore that spawns, in Tin Man, there's like a 20-second overlap. If you got the first spore and you're going to get the third spore, is a really long overlap of where you don't actually need to get it as fast as you can. So we tell people to just get over there and then let the Feral Druid charge over and be the last person and then kill it. So all the ranged are there, Feral Druid goes, they kill it, and we go. So the next wing that we're doing is going to be military. So we're making sure that we line up back and to the left. So we're going to pop boots on, we're going to pop drums on this side of the teleporter, make sure everybody gets it, go through, line it up, and then we're going to do a boot swap. So we have Tinker boots on currently. We're going to swap to TBC boots as soon as we get through. So there's drums, we go through, line it up, boots swap. So you're currently wearing the TBC boots now. I pull these first 2 groups. Our hunter grabs the rest of the skeletal smiths in this room. There's a lot of AoE damage in this pull, but nobody dies. And we keep moving. So that's just enough time for the TBC boots to come off cooldown. So as we're running into this room, we all do another boot swap. So pop TBC boots, put on Tinker boots, and everyone gets to the end of this room where we kill everything together. And the rogue is really helping with tricks of the trade here, lots of threat. I pop wings because I don't need wings for Vesuvius, and we just blow everything up. As we go down here, we need to pick up this Cavalier pack, so the hunter goes over and empties them to me as I pick everything else up before Vesuvius. We get a little unlucky here. The pad's kind of far, and it picks up some extra. See, there's 2 steeds and a squire, and then I think another squire comes from somewhere. So we get 4 extra mobs that we didn't need to, but there's nothing we could have really done about that. So cleaning this group up. We do Raz with our Holy Pally, starts it, So the Holy Pally and the Prot Pally are going to be tanking. So Holy Pally's tanking first, and as soon as his taunt is near coming off, I just get a in position and taunt it off of him, and then he drops it and starts healing. There's not a whole lot of healing needs to be done this fight, which is why we can do this. So it allows us to have an extra DPS if the healer is actually a tank as well. So Holy Pally's healing until my taunt's about to run off. He re-mind controls and comes over and taunts. I taunt it back off of him. He drops it, and he's not going to pick it back up, so he's just tanking this understudy. It doesn't do a whole lot of damage. He has beacon on himself, healing everybody else while tanking it. I call for the hunter to taunt the boss, and I dismiss and taunt the boss instantly so that the ads are not MC'd when the boss dies. And when that happens, they take like 50 times damage, and they usually get 1 or 2 shot. We pop drums right after Vesuvius. We do another boot swap. So we put on Tinker boots, and we get to the end of this hallway and get all of the weapons together, and we pop all DPS CDs because you don't really need DPS CDs for Gothic at all. So we get these all together, blast them down. This pull was really smooth, and we go. And one issue right here was we had the enhancement. We had the enhancement Spirit Wolves pull an extra pack of weapons, which was unfortunate, and we had unfortunate timing with these 2 Cavaliers were right here as well. So they instantly silenced both the Prot Pally and the Holy Pally, so we couldn't dispel each other. So my threat was bad, and we had no heals. So basically went kind of sideways right here. We had a couple deaths, but we recovered quickly, got all these mobs down, and kept moving. We're a little slow on this. We could have moved faster, but that was definitely a curveball that we got. We never seen. So right here, I'm calling out, checking to see if our hunter has detect invis and a soul stone right now, and we're gonna pull and instantly get in the room. And as soon as the hunter calls that he's on the other side of the middle of Gothic's gate, we can go. So our feral druid is moving up towards Gothic. He sprinted up towards Gothic and is about ready to pull as soon as our hunter says that he's ready. Unfortunately, our rogue was Frost Nova'd and then Blast Nova'd for a bit here, without cloak, without vanish CDs. So he called that he'd be good, and we all thought he'd be good. Unfortunately, he got stuck outside the gate for the entirety of the Gothic fight. Luckily, that doesn't really matter, because the only damage that really matters on Gothic in terms of saving time is when Gothic comes down and you kill him. So, lost probably 2 or 3 seconds for not having a rogue here. Otherwise, not a big deal. So he just had a little breather while the hunter is on the other side of Gothic's gate pulling mobs to us, and our warlocks are mana draining Gothic. So here comes the first pull from the hunter. Threat was going to be a little weird here because I don't have tricks for these pulls coming through the gates because the rogue's not here, but everything turned out to be alright. So the warlocks are mana draining Gothic because when he's completely out of mana, he doesn't cast Shadow Bolts, and when he doesn't cast Shadow Bolts, you can drag him around. So at the end of or by the time he spawns, he'll be mostly completely I think he gets like 1 Shadow Bolt off, but and we drag him from his starting position over here all the way to the exit gate and saves us a few seconds of just walking time. There's more mobs coming in from the hunter. So other than the mana drains and the hunter pulling stuff, nothing really special is happening here. So we can skip ahead a bit. The gate opens up, nothing happens. So Gothic is about to spawn. So he spawned, he's got no mana, so pop all CDs and pull him towards the exit. He gets enough mana for like one cast here. And then I keep pulling him. Our rogue is still outside Gothic's gate. He pops sprint before Gothic dies, and then as soon as his sprint's off, as soon as Gothic dies, it resets the sprint cooldown, so he's able to get a double sprint here. And this is the last pull that the hunter was working on while we were killing Gothic. So ideally, all of this would have been killed before Gothic came before Gothic was killed, but a little unlucky. So we boots down with parachute. So that's TBC boots. That's why we had TBC boots on Gothic, so we can get a further boost here. And it's instant swap to Tinker boots. Unfortunately, we also had these two Cavaliers that we needed to pick up. So he got the pack that's usually right here in front of Gothic's door, but couldn't get this double Cavalier pack. So we had to kill these as we move, and it's not an easy pack, so you have to keep dispelling them, dispelling their bone armor, and making sure that they don't silence anybody important. So we just kill these as we move back into 4 horseman position. Normally, if there was nothing here, we would just boots into this corner and pull. But since we were killing the mobs anyway, we didn't really lose anything by just pulling the mobs in and not using boots. So we start with Zeliek. This is the normal Zeliek start where you burn him down before he casts a Holy Wrath. So he doesn't kill anybody. In Tin Man, it's not very deadly. It's really only deadly if you were to connect your ranged and your melee stacks. So as soon as Zeliek is dead, we pull Thane and Baron over on top of Blamau. Pretty standard, but we kill Thane first, and then Lady Blamau, and then Baron Rivendare. So as soon as Lady Blamau dies, I can pull Baron towards the exit because he's not stationary boss. So pull him to the exit and get ready to go to Spiderwing. It's our last. So we pop drums before we go to the portal. We do have Tinker Boots up right now, but I'm calling to save it for this hallway into a Nub's room. So what we do here is actually a little different than I've seen people do it. We have our hunter throw a frost trap. Throw a freezing trap at this pack. Because of the travel time and the delay on arming, he gets a good amount of distance between himself and this pack after it gets aggroed from the freezing trap. As we're all running through this, I tell people that they can boots through this hallway. We get this last pack, and then as we're through, the hunter is over here getting this second pack that's right there in that corner. He's standing right at the door, pulling it, and then immediately going line of sight and disengaging towards us to pull them without getting pulled back. So he does that, and they get a lucky pull on him, but he still has boots, so he gets in pretty quickly. Meanwhile, our feral druid is moving up. He's sprinting up towards Anubricon and pulling him as soon as the hunter said he's good. So this pull is a little hectic. Lots of the warlocks having threat. Mobs coming from all over the place. Everyone has to come into this room and make sure you line of sight either on the left or the right of the door so you don't get pulled by these spiders out of the room. So all these spiders are coming in, and now the boss is coming in too. So now everyone is just passive cleaving off of a nub and killing the rest. This is the the one spider that was freezing trapped. Comes in late. Otherwise, everyone's just nuking down an Ubercon. So anyone who didn't boots through this hallway going that way would still have Tinker boots up right now. So we swapped to TBC boots because if we're quick enough and we get an early enough boots after Gothic, then you can actually line up a TBC boots here into the Faerlina poll that's coming up. But unfortunately, we had ads right after Gothic, so our TBC boots were a little late there, and therefore they're not going to be off cooldown going into Faerlina. So we're going to just keep them on until after Faerlina. So it's a little bit of a DPS loss here, but I think we make up for it for the TBC boot jump that we're going to do after Faerlina. So the Feral Druid is tanking everything that's not in Faerlina's room, and I move forward and get a bubble pull set up. So I pull everything, pop a bubble, throw an arcane bomb, and as I'm about to throw the arcane bomb, I tell everyone to come in. So this is where we'd normally have TBC boots in, but we're a little slow on that, so everyone just walked in normally. It was fine. And meanwhile, our hunter is actually not with us. Well, he's in the room, but he's using Eyes of the Beast to pull the next two groups of Spiderwings. So the next two groups down the hall after Faerlina, he used Eyes of the Beast to pull those to us. So we kill the mobs at Faerlina. We pull Faerlina over to the entrance because we know these mobs are coming any minute. So we're just nuking Faerlina down, waiting for those mobs. And there they are. It's a bit slow on this pull, but that's not really much of a problem. So our focus is to get Faerlina down here. All the mobs are on the Holy Pally, so he's got a bubble. And then we get a Trix and my AoE. Unfortunately, the mobs stop back here, and I go up to try and get threat on them. And during this time, apparently Faerlina was evading, and Faerlina healed up to 66%. So it's actually a pretty significant time loss here, about 30 seconds, I'd say. And we almost die. So Faerlina is enraged where she should be dead, and she's hit me pretty hard. So it's pretty close. As you can see, our Holy Pally is completely I have no cooldowns for 10 more seconds. I don't have shield wall, and she's hit me pretty hard. So this is just, all in all, very unfortunate that she evaded for standing right there for a second and healed up to 66%. So about a 30-second time loss on this fight, unfortunately. We kill the last of the ads. We pop drums. I tell people to hold boots until you can make it over this that little lip and do a jump, and then all these mobs are cleared because we just killed them in Faerlina, so we'll W right through. I tell anyone who didn't use a second pot on Faerlina has got a swiftness pot here. Otherwise, we're just basically holding W through all these mobs as best we can up till Naxxramas. These horrors are really the tomb horrors are really the only mobs you got to worry about in this hallway, because they're casters and they stay back, so you have to make sure that you get enough damage on the horrors before you move away from them, or else they're just gonna never die. So basically hold W through everything else, and the horrors are the ones that you really need to make sure you kill. So right here, our TBC boots, our Tinker boots are off cooldown. So we do a boots call into this group. We have to make sure this horror dies quickly, and we keep moving. I had accidentally queued up my TBC boots to be put on. I accidentally used my swap boots macro there, so I was just canceling the queue in my inventory. There's a little bit of confusion right here. We were wondering if we still needed the two more green spiders that can sometimes pat over this way. We were thinking about it, but nope, we're good. We're good on trash, 100% going into Naxxramas, our final boss. So we pick Naxxramas as a final boss for a specific reason. So this is the last boss. Everyone can put on flasks and take off Zanzas. Basically, the running part of the run is over. Everyone pops a pre-pot, and we kill Naxxramas in less than a minute. So there's no real opportunity for a second pot on Naxxramas, and then and pot is off cooldown for Saf, so we can pre-pot Saf and have a second pot on Saf. So our Holy Pally does a lot of damage to the web wrap back there. Otherwise, we're just pumping Naxxramas. I use shield wall for the stun. The rogue vanishes it, and then as soon as the stun is over, pull it to the exit. Probably could have pulled a little sooner, but I call for drums early because there's really not much between here and Saf. So pop early drums. Our hunter stays back and frees the last web wrap because we were about 2 seconds off from actually beating that second web wrap. But at some point in the fight, I accidentally queued my TBC boots again, so I swapped back to normal boots. And the two people that were web wrapped and the hunter, they can't actually see this animation, so we need a call for when they need to pre-pot. So we called for pre-pot, and we just blast Saf. This was actually really fast Saf and KT kill time for us. So we're pretty proud of that. But yeah, nothing really special. Much happens here. During the air phase, I get blocked, which is I'm the best target as a Prot Pally. I don't have a whole lot of damage here, so that helps the damage, helps the kill time a bit. Otherwise, we just kill Saf quickly. We boots right at the end of Saf, or sorry, we drums right at the end of Saf and call for holding boots until after this door is open, which unfortunately one of our DK accidentally used his boots. So everyone was up here ready to go. The DK was behind, so we formulated a plan for him to stay outside the room and for us to just start it, because we know that this gate opens eventually, and we'll just pull this cubby and get him inside when it's safe. We had the hunter keep his pet on stay back in Saf, and we had both of the warlocks dismiss their pets, because sometimes you can you get in this circle and those skeletons spawn instantly like you just saw, and the pets can actually aggro the skeletons and make them explode on the raid and kill people. So it's a dangerous little thing that you can avoid just by dismissing warlock pets and having the hunter keep his pet on stay back in Saf's room, and then it auto dismisses from being 100 yards away. So the gate opens, we pull this cubby, let our Death Knight come in. I think we got our Boomkin's Typhoon was the one that pulled the left and the right group. So, but somehow it only pulled the A-bombs from the right and the skeletons from the left. So, I mean, we were still more than okay. This phase is pretty easy. So, the rest of the fight is pretty standard. I'll just play it out and turn the audio on.
What?
I know it's that way. It's the whole fucking map.
Thought it was far enough away.
Typhoon's just a cone though, right? It's like a 180-degree cone.
No, dude, it's Pac-Man.
We should get elves, Tom. Seconds. Might pull early.
I'll get first kick.
Are you keeping it there? Or are you moving it?
No, I'm moving him. Here it is.
Watch your step.
Wow, okay.
Watch your step.
Melee. Just run to the opposite side if you get we want your damage the whole time.
Spread. Watch your step.
Melee.
Watch your step. Watch your step.
Melee.
Watch your step.
Mobs.
Watch your step.
Casters. Nice job.
Congrats, Ganooch.
Nice, I'm dying.
He finally got it.
I just
Hey, I'm
realized we
dying?
didn't die.
Nice.
Jacob got it too.
I
And
got it
Roomba.
too.
I
Yes,
didn't have it
oh my
either.
god.